Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a set of tools for dulcimer players, and the one we're focused on this week is a chord chart. So today I think we'll get on to the chords part of that. All right, let's see, we left off, I'm not sure, yeah, I guess we're working in here. So this thing identifies the set of valid notes, so once you've chosen a set of strings, we can determine what are all the notes on there, on that fretboard. So if we tune to DAD and we have a diatonic fretboard, we have D, E, F sharp, G, and so on. If we have a chromatic fretboard, we have C, C sharp, D, well, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, and so on. So the fretboard determines it as well as the string chosen. And then we did a very simplistic, a simplistic determination to say, does this fretboard support a major chord based starting on this note? So if I want a C major chord, it's C, E, G. And if I were to count half steps between those notes, I find out it's 0 for the C, since it's the start. Go up 4 gets you to the E. Go up a total of 7, 3 more gets you to the G. And we check with this function that every note is in that list of valid notes from the fretboard. All right. Now it doesn't tell us, could you assign one note of the chord? You know, each note of the chord needs to be on a separate string. Can we do that with the strings we have? We can't tell. Okay, so if you needed, I don't know, an F and a G sharp for some reason, or maybe an A flat, more musical. Both those could be middle string notes, and you can't get them both at the same time on a typical dulcimer, on a diatonic dulcimer. So it's not enough to know the notes are there somewhere on the fretboard. You have to know, can we find the right notes on separate strings? And we're going to answer that question later, but for now we're not. Okay, so I don't think my to-do says that. Check that the chord uses all strings. Okay, that's kind of that. All right, so given that behavior, I want to move to the UI and say, given a tuning and a fretboard, can you tell me all the major chords that even have a chance, according to this has major notes thing, all the major chords that could be played with this dulcimer? So if it's a diatonic dulcimer, it doesn't have an F on the fretboard at all. So there's no way you're going to get an F major chord out of that. Well, there are tricks you can do, bend the strings and stuff like that, but just as far as what's really on the fretboard, it's not there. All right. And I guess I think we're ready to do this. Let's see. So my approach, I guess my idea would be start from the lowest bass note. So if it's a D tuning, start with the D. Actually, lowest is probably not the right thing, but we'll come back to that. But if you started with the lowest bass note and it's DAD tuning, the lowest note is going to be a D, and we would just walk through. D, do you have any D major chords? Yes. D sharp, do you have any D sharp major chords? No. E, do you have any E major chords? No. Well, we have one. Do you have any E minor chords? Yes, we have those. We'll come to minor later. F, no way. F sharp, no major chords. G, major chords, yes. And keep going on up. A, major chord, yes. Okay, so if we have a 6.5 fret, but whatever they are. Some have it, some don't. And we're just going to try and list them all. And I think we're going to start, well, maybe we'll start from, maybe I'll hard code it from D and rather than C, because probably most of the dulcimer tunings most people play most often have D's in them. Not all by any stretch, but, you know, just to get something a little different than C. Okay. Well, where's this going to go? Well, there's a view for it. Chord chart view. All right, now I tried to start the simulator up. I'm surprised. Failed to launch. Lovely. Now this is launching, so I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, that is the we got the dulcimer board drawn with the symbols over to the positions over top of it, and with frets, some dashed, some thicker, some thinner, according to some useful pattern that I like. All right, so I guess here we have the fretboard view. What I really want to do is have one fretboard view for each chord, because different notes will be interesting depending on different chords. So in a D major chord, D, F sharp, and A, I'd like to highlight all those on the fretboard. We don't do that yet, but I'd like to. And that way you could see, like, oh, build your chords around these notes, and here's some example reasonable shapes you could use. Okay, so where is our tuning? I hope that's coming in. Not really. Huh. I guess our current stuff does not use that. Okay, so let's, well, the tuning, we used it in chord chart, but we passed it in as a string. I think this is one of those things that's trying to become a small object. But I think we can assume it's past, well, we'll just set one for now, but eventually it'll have to be passed in. I mean, the chord chart, presumably the chord chart view is going to hold on to a chord chart, so maybe we just have to do that. Okay, so let's just give it one. The chart is chord chart. So tuning, we'll say DAD, and fret, well, what we got? Somewhere we did this. Oh, I'm not in the right place, am I? Okay, those are lets, so hopefully I can reference them. If not, I have to do some work. Yeah. Oh, I hate that. Okay, we're going to do it in hit. Well, let's just do nothing. Yeah, I think that's what we really need. We'll get there. I also think note names need to be a thing explicitly. We have note names plural, but not note name. Okay, so this. Now I don't know if I can even do that in here. Good. Okay. This really will need to become a selector, because you should choose what your dulcimer tuning is. Okay. So now, okay. Well, I'm going to say for note position in, let's see. So this is my list running from D. Maybe I'll just start it at D. Well, 0 dot dot less than 12. Let's try it this way. Okay, and then all this really wants to be in a scroll view at this point. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the right way to do this. Yeah, I'm gonna add a D offset. Let's put something in there for that. Let start note equal D. Yeah, that's why I'm feeling like note name position, maybe a note name could encapsulate position. But anyway. All right. I guess I got to do this with for each. I'm in the view side. For each 0 dot dot less than 12 id slash dot self. Okay. So I should be able to say, let's see if we can get a starting point. Yeah. Not working my keys here. Oh. Okay. Okay, so this should just roll through and give us 12 copies of this based on that without worrying about notes just yet. All right, now are you... Okay, he ran his tests. Good. I don't know whether or not green if that's the case, but we'll take our chance. I upgraded my operating system last night. Ugh. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Why is Watchman even involved in this? I don't know why Watchman would be involved in the compiling. I use it to link our to-do list, which I haven't done. That brings up that on the bottom of the screen. Is it going to happen? Well, I don't know. It's supposed to trigger a process that monitors this to-do file and puts that, oh, there it goes, on the bottom of the screen there. So we can kind of keep track of what's going on. Okay, we're still building. Anyway, upgrading the Mac meant upgrading Xcode and the simulators and restarting all those, and I thought they were going, but they seem to be working a little slow here. Which well, we'll do a little housekeeping here. Today's the 5th. Yeah, he's installing. Right. Excuse me. I don't know. I mean, it may be, well, it must be working because it's showing the thing on the bottom of the screen, but I mean, it seems to keep a bunch, like a bunch of little notification files running. I'm not sure why there's so many, but I periodically delete them all, and I'd feel better if something were moving on here other than this. Attaching, launching, installing. Yeah, I had a flat out simulator crash, I don't know, around 1:30 or something. Okay, something changed. I can hear the disc going, I mean, which seems weird to me because it's a magnetic disc, but something's making noise. Or not, I think, solid state disc. Okay. And I'm hoping for something that goes, 0, fretboard 1, fretboard 2, fretboard, and on up. And maybe they've improved the playground or whatever you call the automatic display, the preview. But we're starting here. Okay, yeah, 0 board, 1 board, and it should be all the way up to 12. That title is not so attractive. Okay, I guess 11, 0 through 11. All right. I don't really care about this, but I guess I do want, well, I don't want 50 on top. Well, I guess we're going to say text, and then we need to take note name position of startNote. Do we have an offset one built in? Okay, I guess just dot plus. Let's call this offset. And I'm gonna put major in here. I don't think we'll keep that in the long run, but I think that's getting at something useful. For now, major makes sense. Extra closing paren. Okay. Well. Okay, and then we need, well, we want to use that other function we had. Where'd chord chart go? The has major notes. So before we show a chord, we'd like to check that has major note. Take the note plus the offset. Well, it seems to do it on one string. I guess that's as far as we were. Valid notes on set of string. Well, what's note plus offset? Oh, note is the chord root. The name of the chord. Okay. Whoa. Okay. I guess I need a dot name in there somewhere. Plus offset dot name. Yeah. Okay. Position 2, note name C, C sharp D. Note position 3. Oh, so that's the scroll view that's doing that to our top up there. 11, 0, 1. Oh, okay, so that's good. 0, if C is 0, C sharp is 1, D is 2. So it did start at D, even if the naming is a little less than perfect. Okay. But I also think we need to ask, what about has major notes? So I don't want to see every chord possible, like all 12 there. I only want to see them if has major notes of the chord root is correct. Okay, so let's use that in our view. And I guess that's here. If, excuse me, well, note name position of this dot name. That's the note, the root. So we want to say if chart dot has major notes of, well, chord root can stay. Note name position offset of name. Then we're going to show the note and show this. Now all this, it clearly needs some cleanup, but let's see if we can get this right. Don't need that right. Okay. Yeah, let's see how that does. So I wanted to say C major, D major, G major, A major. I don't know if there's more beyond. I guess we'll get A major, C, D, well, D, G, A, and C, I think. Well, I expect us to get 4 all coming out as major chords. We're running on iPhone. You didn't switch phones? Okay. Oh, D major, E major, yes. Okay. F major, oh, with the diatonic, yeah, that's true. E major is because there's a G sharp up here. It can use that and make one. G major, A major, C sharp major. Oh, C sharp, E, G sharp, right? No, C sharp, F. Well, C sharp, E sharp, which is F, and G sharp. Wow, I don't think I've ever thought about playing a C sharp major chord on my dulcimer. All right, that's getting there. We'll need to tweak on the font. Maybe this green will work. And in the long run, I mean, the next stage is I'd like to say what are the calculations? What are the valid? Well, I want to do 2 things. One is get those spots in there to tell me where you can find those notes. F is here, C is here, A is here, and here. You know, that should all be highlighted on the board. And once we have that, then I want to say things like, oh, you should play a what is that? I guess that's, yeah, you could play a 1.5, 1.5, 4. That would get you a C, an F, and an A. Okay. All right. So let's put Let's put this in that green, just to at least get that visible. Foreground dot, I don't remember what it's called, but we used it in the chord chart. No, do we draw that in here still? Yeah. Okay, that seems wrong. Where's the symbols? Bold wouldn't hurt this either. Okay. Well, it's not green, it's something else. Probably say it this way. Well, actually, accent color might be all right. That actually goes through that up here too, doesn't it? Okay. Yeah, you know, I was originally going to do something more like that. I mean, that circle of fifths thing, or had buttons drawn in the middle for that. But I kind of think if you're using this, like, there are only so many chords you can make. I mean, I guess if you're on chromatic, you can play every chord, but well, every 3-note chord anyway. But I think if you were coming in, like, you had a normal dulcimer, diatonic dulcimer, and you just want to find out, like, oh, I got to refresh myself on these chords real quick. I don't think you need to be going, you know, oh, well, let's try D major, and what about E minor, and that kind of thing. So I think it's just going to be a scrollable list, but with showing those fretboards every time, and they're in order, you know, kind of alphabetically, not by circle of fifths. So if you don't know your circle of fifths, you'll be able to find it because it's just in the order. Yeah, tap the same chord, circle through the shapes. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Oh, I bumped. It may be. It might be that we could get through some more interactive way. I don't know. I think we have our hands pretty full just getting the chords drawn in there and all that stuff, and then the interaction, we can decide if just listing them is enough, or maybe you want to list them, but you could have a little interactive piece up top, and if you selected the note and the quality, major, minor, it could do it interactively. So if you say, I just don't remember how to do an A minor chord, and you could enter that and put it in, that would be fine. But I think, again, like, I'm kind of conscious that I'm going out on a limb. The more features I put in, you know, the less feedback I get on what I have and everything. So I think we'll start off with a more simplistic view. You know, I had a very ambitious idea of the circle of fifths, and then another circle with the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, you know, very music theory kind of oriented approach, but you know, we'll start simpler. Am I? No. What's going on here? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oh, that accent color is horrid there. And I'm not too fond of it here. Isn't that interesting? It used such a dark version of it. Okay, well, that's not... I mean, a little more pop may be okay. We'll at least put this one back to green. I think that's tolerable, but not the best contrast. Maybe we go back to a more white with trim, you know, trim inside, or what do we do here? Yeah, I guess here it was all white and green. Okay. All right. At any rate, I think this is where we are now in passing. You know, everything's looking pretty good. Make chord chart show the list of relevant chords. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. The use case for this, I think at least one of them is, you know, you're in a jam and somebody says, well, this song has D, G, A, and A minor. And you go like, A minor? I never play that. What is that? And, you know, pop in and take a quick look and say, okay, 4-4-6, I can do it. There may be another one where you're actually just forcing yourself to study things. I don't know, but we'll see. All right. So I think the next thing is to go back to drawing, but we have technical debt, or at least some. We owe ourselves some refactoring. Okay, so one thing is all this dulcimer drawing stuff is taken up a lot in this file, and it's its own concept, so let's at least extract it out. Oh, come on. Come on. If I'm not pressing hard enough, there's different levels of push on this thing now. Extract to file. Hey, you got the import. And left it here. Okay, well that's good. That's an improvement. Before, when I extracted to file, I don't think it brought the imports along, and we had to go add them in every time. All right, fretboard view. That's still got, I don't know, this stuff down here, it's just because let's pull it into our to-do. This is about canvas. Let's just put a note in there. Note, canvas uses resource symbol. Is that what it's called? Resolve symbol. Okay. Yeah, I'm using the touchpad. I think it's got like 3 levels of push, and I tend to not push all the way in, and I think it's touchy anyway for selecting that stuff. But I'll take the improvement. I right clicked on the class name, and it extracted that and brought the imports. I think that's an improvement over the last version of Xcode, unless I was doing something wrong there too. But okay, so we did this, listing the possible chords, major chords, and we did starting from hard-coded D. Okay. Let me say from the implied key. Okay. Usually bass note. Not always. Okay. We want to do fretboard. Let's see. Is this thing... This is reasonable. Well, like all this stuff, that's not chord charts problem. That's really an issue of describing dulcimers. Okay, so is that a fretboard? I think it is. Okay, so to me, a fretboard is going to, this stuff is all fretboard. And we would choose one. I would imagine we would construct several and just have them hanging around there. And this tuning is different. Boy. I mean, there's definitely a style, I don't know if you call it TDD or evolutionary, but it's like, I feel like I want to just push through to some point. Like for me, the listing of valid chord names, valid chord roots, or valid major chords, showing a fretboard for each and the name that we're trying for, like that, it's not a very useful place to be, but it gives you something. You know, it says, I know the major chords. So I think that's fine. Fret styles is used for drawing, really. Well, let's see, fret styles. Is that... the fret type we use to determine what the drawing should be, but that's done in the fretboard view, which is probably the right place. But the notion of which of these is real or not is useful. I don't think anybody uses this anymore, though. But, oh, okay, they do. fretTypes. Fretboard view. fretTypes. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. We'll have to do something with that. Yeah, so it's not used for much now, right? It's really, it looks like it's just used to calculate size and distance of the frets. And I think that's because the I don't know where that count is. Yeah, okay. Drawing the names. Yeah. That is, well, the information is sort of here in a sense, right? Because we have what are the frets? If we said what's the highest index we use, you could go ask the frets array here, and he would say 17. But if you actually went in here, we put an extra blank one at the end. We could make it one more just to make something work. But, you know, I think frets dot count is probably frets dot max, where we look at this field, would be equivalent. Or honestly, I think if we get a fretboard object, you could tell it like how many frets do you, or how many chromatic fret positions do you occupy? Okay, because the fret number, it's not always filled in because dulcimers don't have all the notes. Okay, yeah, we could hard code it to 18. It's, well, and actually here it's -1. Oh, right, because 1, well, I'm not sure if that's to get just this, but that's really the maximum. Okay, so that's something we can get rid of. Okay, so I think there's enough refactoring to maybe make a little task for it. So extract a fretboard class, eliminate the fretTypes array, fretboard could provide the relevant counts. Okay. I'm really wondering about, well, let's at least extract a tuning object. And I guess maybe question mark about a NoteName object. Okay. Because, I mean, I just feel like we're going back and forth, note to position, but the position of a NoteName is really a fixed thing in the, in a normal chromatic scale. So it feels funny that we have to go back around so much. I think there's other stuff. Well, yeah, so, I mean, a tuning like this, map that to string, split it into strings, uppercase them, and extract their position, right? That all seems like something you could ask the tuning, and maybe even more. I mean, this is getting into frets map, so that's different. But we could at least know where they are and deliver the positions or notes or whatever's useful in here. And so I do think there's this thing in designing this. It's like I push through. I mean, if it were on the model side, it's with tests and everything. It's really done. But then we've taken these shortcuts of using strings for note names and tunings and other things maybe. And I think it would be, it's a judgment, like when does this become a barrier? But I think for us, it's already, like mucking around all this stuff to just get the list of note positions for the strings, that could definitely be done by the tuning itself. So I want to find those places that are already kind of creating friction and move them, clean them up and get them straight. There are other times where it's like I don't really know where it's going yet, and maybe I just have to kind of wait it out a little. And then there are things like this where we're going back and forth between the position and the string. That I don't know, something's definitely funny there, and that's going to be harder to untangle, but that one's probably more important to untangle because it's creating these ambiguities when we have two representations we're kind of fighting between. If everything worked off NoteName, he could say plus offset, and that's fine. How many go up so many half steps, and that's how you get there. So, right. So let's make sure this builds. I think I just extracted a file is all I've done. This is all one file. Okay. We see the fretboard emerging. But I do think doing it kind of pushing through, but not too big a bite, and recognizing where these shortcuts are, I think it lets you go a little faster to do that. Sometimes I do the type alias thing, and I say, you know, there's a type alias for this. I'm not going to make it a real class yet, but I can see I probably want to, so I set up the type alias so I can at least make some of the clients pretend they have the class and stuff like that. All right, commit this. This was, yeah, basically we extracted fretboard view to its own file. All right, now let's extract fretboard. And I think he's going to own these two things for now. And we can pass this through instead of frets. Oh. His fretboard view? What's he doing? Where did he get fretTypes? Oh, did I pass that? Yes, okay. Yeah, so I think we'll extract out fretboard, pass in the extra argument, move everybody to grab information from there, delete these, and look at the usages and see if they can, instead of asking for fretboard.fretTypes, can they just ask fretboard for the stuff. Okay, so it's a set of 4 or 5 or 6 kind of smaller refactorings that I think will be good. Okay, so one way to do this is just kind of wishful thinking, and we just say, you know, let fretboard of fretboard. Okay, and so chord chart view, we want to say a fretboard. I think this is really, state, and it's really a var, because this is going to be a selectable thing. Okay, now chord chart, maybe, I don't know. But okay, now I can see I don't have fretboard, so I'll create it here for the moment. And he's not a view object, he's a model object. Okay, and I want to move these types over into there. And a better browser or IDE might be able to do this for me, but now we will say fretboard. Well, dot frets. Okay, and maybe this needs to, let's make one. Let's just assume it into existence. Yeah, opcode is no more. I mean, it's hard to make a big IDE like this. You know, there's no way around that. But boy, I guess there's such an inherent advantage to being Apple in this situation, that, you know, providing the main IDE for free, and then how's JetBrains going to do this? You know, it's I mean, their strategy has often or always been, you know, we provided it so good, you don't, you're willing to pay for it. Okay, so fret, what is it? Accessibility. Oh, yeah. Can I do this? No. Well, I almost need to initialize chord chart there too. I mean, fretboard shouldn't need to be initialized on up here. I mean, the thing is, chart depends on it. What do we have to have? Let's just give it an sort of a null object-y kind of feel first. And then, like you say, we can at least do this on up here. I don't know, we might be able to do it in defer. No. Oh, chart's a let. Okay, that's all right. Because he should be able to change too, because as we change the tuning or the fretboard, then that should matter. All right, but that works. Okay. Oh, it might have accepted fretboard too. Yeah. Underscore fretboard. Okay, so now, yeah, I think that's kind of the first step. We got fretboard created. It gets used here, here, and here to build the chord chart. So yeah, so this is separated. All right, so let's pull this into its own. Okay, let's do it the right way. I'm curious if it'll just blindly import Swift UI even though we don't want it. Okay, he offered to do it, but I don't know if he did it. No. Refactor, extract to file. Here goes. Yeah, he doesn't need Swift UI. Okay, well, it's still not perfect. It's out of here. Okay, and actually, startNote. Okay. So now we have that fretboard. Let's pull startNote into fretboard. And you know, even now, for now, this is all hard-codedy stuff, but we'll get it. We'll get it. Okay. Now, who references startNote? Okay, let's make that fretboard dot startNote. One other. Oh, there it is. Okay, so everything we need comes from fretboard. That's good. All right, let's run tests, I guess, at this point. Yeah, underscore fretboard's for when it's a binding and we want to get to the underlying object. But with the state, we own the object. I think both of these will probably be states because, I mean, the tuning, maybe this won't even need to be created globally, but the tuning and the fretboard are, they're going to be selectable things at some point. Are you chromatic, diatonic plus 6.5, diatonic plus 1.5 and 6.5? and what tuning do you want. Here's a list of 17 or 25 of them. You know, that'll give you we'll have scope for changing it, I guess, if I put it that way. All right, we're installing to do a test run. Are we installing to the... No? Okay. Oh, another refactoring. I want this to go from... I want to get the range from startNote. Okay. So extract fretboard to its own file. Well, I guess extract and file. Okay, now, yeah, that is obnoxious, especially twice. But I'm going to go to the fretboard view instead. Like fretboard view, hey, this information is held on the fretboard. So let's, we'll do it the safe way. No, we won't. Let's give it the fretboard. And there may be another place or two, but does it have a preview maybe? No, probably should, but does not. Okay, that should build. Okay, so we're adding an unused type, but it has all this information, so we can pull from there. Okay, so let's get rid of fretTypes first. Well, maybe let's do it off fretboard first. Okay, that should build. Okay, now we don't reference it on its own, so we should be able to delete it here and here. And that should build. And then let's get the references to this. Okay, and nobody's using that. Well, I'll run since this was a visual thing. All right. Nothing changed. Okay. Good. All right. So we'll commit this. So we pass fretboard rather than its fields. Eliminate fields from fretboard view. Okay, now, so what I regard this as is it's kind of the data bag approach. You know, we provide fretboard with a bunch of information, and you just ask the fretboard for the stuff that's held. There's no behavior to it other than fetching it. So we're going to modify that. We're going to look at those accesses for fretboard, and this, the fretboard types count -1, and let's search for this in particular. Oops. Well, there's not that many of these. Fretboard fretTypes count -1. Now, is the float nature of it part of it? I don't think so, but this to me is very much well, it's feature envy in effect, where instead of, or maybe law of Demeter violation, instead of asking fretboard for the count, we ask it for the fretTypes, and then we go ask fretTypes for the count, and then adjust it. So all this work can belong on fretboard. There's no mechanical way to do it, unfortunately. Well, I should give it a chance first. Refactor, extract selection of file, extract to method. I can extract it to a method. That's one way to make it a little bit oh, wait. Okay, so this is, let's call it fret count. Where did it put it? There we go. All right. And then the next step is extracting that. Did it get the other one? No. So this is fret count. Okay. Then we can move a copy of this. Again, I'm trying to be a little extra safe today. But fret count is fretTypes.count -1. And it doesn't need fretboard because that's what it is. So, okay. So now we've moved this, excuse me, we've moved into this, the type that's wrapping this, and we're in control of that here. Okay, I don't want it file private. And also, it's really a var. Save myself a complaint. Okay, so it's a var because there's no parameters on it. It's internal stuff. All right, and now fret view. Let's make this just be fretboard.fretCount. Okay, and I would even just, well, honestly, I would inline it at this point. If the tool did it, I would let the tool do it, but it doesn't. And so this is my conservative refactoring approach because you know, I isolate it. I say isolate improve inline is my pattern name for this. So I isolated it. I improved it by extracting it off to a different thing. That simplified this so much. I feel like I can inline it back into those places. So it's you know, if the IDE had said, oh, I see you did this same calculation twice, let me extract both those and reference the same method, all this would have been a little smoother. All right, now we probably could have just done it directly too. I mean, we're not that buried into this. But I think that's a good step, and this now can be file private. And I'm running tests. Now this, let's count them. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 0 through 18. So it's got 19 things in it, and the -1 is this. Okay. Let's let that finish a moment. Okay. So I guess we moved fret count over to fretboard, which that seems like a really good question for fretboard. All right, now given that we have this here and we know, okay, so this was 19 entries and we did fret count -1, so it was 18. This is really, we're trying to get the 18 from this. It's really the last fret +1. And well, I almost think the +1 is not this fretboard's decision. I mean, we're saying here's the frets we know, and if you want to say draw it a little bit more the other way, that seems like a drawing decision. So let's take frets dot, well, can we take, is it max by fret goes to bool? Okay, yeah. $0 dot index. Okay, so I'm going to get the highest index we use. Well, maybe that is +1. Yeah, we use 0 through 17. Fret question mark. Let last fret equal this, and we will return last fret dot index +1. Okay, because 0 through 17 is really 18 entries. We know this exists. Well, maybe it's more visible here. We know there is a last fret. No, I think it shouldn't, because I think if this were chromatic, it would have entry 0 through entry 17, and we should return 18. How many frets do you have? I have 18. We aren't really returning it's not really the fret count. Well, it's sort of the chromatic fret count. In a way, it's the fret count. But it's kind of how many chromatic frets do you consume? There's a better name for that. Maybe it's size. Yeah, I think size in terms of half steps is effectively what it is. Fretboard size reads very naturally. Yeah, it's number of half steps for sure. And that's one, like maybe that integer should start becoming half steps, and you know, that's one I'm holding off on because I just don't know. But this should be good. to run. Yeah, hopefully our drawings look as good as they did. Yeah, I think so. All right. And then now, I don't think anybody references fret types, do they? Nope. Okay, so we got rid of that. I guess we've looked and said these are all right. It said it twice, once when they were and once when they weren't. Okay, and then startNote, I'm still gonna... Maybe startNote is a question of tuning. We'll leave it here for now. All right. And then he uses startNote here. No, you know what? Let's pull that back out. StartNote is not implicit to your fret start. We don't know what any of these notes are. We just know their distances. We don't know their notes. So this doesn't really belong on here. StartNote is D. We'll take this off. Okay. Yeah, and again, I think part of this is paying attention to what's really inherent in the domain object here and aligning with that. So I think we're much better off now. I don't know, when we do with frets, what are we doing? Whoops. Well, that works. I wish you'd expand them all for me, but okay. Let's find usages of frets. That's not right. Where were we? Wasn't it fretboard view? Yeah. Okay, so we walk over the fretboard frets, and then we do the same thing here. Now these, what are we doing with those frets, right? We're grabbing, oh, that one we're grabbing the fret styles. Okay. That's the type. What was the other one? Oh, the fret indices. Yeah, so we fetch off fret.index and then we don't reference. Oh, we do. We reference fret.name. Index. Oh, we need them both. Okay. Yeah, I think startNote belongs on tuning. Which doesn't exist. All right, well, we're getting the frets and then we're doing something with them a couple ways, so that seems okay. And same up here, we're getting the fret and then we're getting the types and the index. So yeah, I think both are pretty well needed there. We don't do anything else with the frets. All right, yeah, so I think that one's okay. All right, so let's see. Refactoring, extract fretboard class. Eliminate the first types array, fretTypes array, yes. Extract a tuning object. Okay. Well, we have this here. It's going to be like kind of the same thing. Tuning of tuning. All right. And we'll say tuning. Okay. Do I have a tuning already? Huh. Where's tuning? Oh, okay. We weren't consistent. Good. Start tuning. Okay. And self is used. We'll get that working. And this can go from the tuning. Okay. I'll just say strings of string and init. Okay. Okay, now chord charts. I'm going to move a little faster. I could require this to be string and add the new tuning in and then do this and modify that. I'm just going to say we're going to start passing tuning, and whatever breaks in here, we're going to go look up. Okay, so cannot assign type string to tuning, right? And then array, I'll say tuning dot strings, and probably anybody else. That's all we do with it. Okay. Let's go ahead and move. There we go. Let's go ahead and move startNote over here. And then there are a couple places in here. So this is tuning. Okay, and one more chord chart. Okay. Set value song. Oh, we're using tuning here? Oh. Oh, that's that's the string. Okay, we're gonna make this one be a string. Maybe we need a different... Yeah, so, but I don't know where that type alias was, but let's treat these as strings for now. Tuning of string. Okay, let's hope that's all gone. All right, let's run our tests again. Yeah, so, okay, this is in the song part of things. So, unless I want to modify my loaded songs to match up to the tuning types that we're defining over here, yeah, we might, maybe we'll take that name. Fretboard tuning wouldn't kill it. I don't think this name will be as common. So let me put song back. Okay, we'll extract. I never know if it's going to come through. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, I could, like, I don't know, it crossed my mind this morning. Like, each one of these tools is fairly self-contained, except we have the three song tools, the first lines and the jams. It almost could be its own little, you know, little separate package on top of this, but I don't know if that's better or not. Okay, so we've extracted class fretboard tuning. All right, let's take a break and we'll come back and see if there's any usage we can extract out of this. Again, he's kind of a little bit of a data bag now. He just holds information, doesn't have any methods. So 3 or 4 minutes and we'll come back. Welcome back. All right, so we've got tuning here. Let's see who's doing anything with it. Chord chart, tuning. All right, so he accesses tuning strings. Yeah, that's probably the big one at this point. This we mentioned could belong on the tuning, the fretboard tuning. We're getting the strings names and mapping them into positions. Yeah, and this is where I'm starting to feel like the note name position is not quite as graceful as it could be. All right, but at any rate, this line, and probably makes sense. I mean, the reason it made sense to pull this out to this variable was this is a concept in itself of what are the positions of the strings. Okay, so let's just pull this in directly into fretboard tuning. So this is a var positions NoteName position, actually array of them. It's array tuning strings. Tuning is us. Map them to uppercase, map them to note positions. Okay, and then back here. String positions is really tuning dot positions. Okay, and then yeah. Okay, let's make sure that works. I don't think anybody uses tunings except chord chart, so that's all set. Extract. Okay, extract note name, get range of notes from startNote rather than positions. Well, I think these are kind of the same problem. And I imagine we have a class note already, right? Is that true? No. Well, I'm going around and around, I guess, in circles, but I think this will be better as NoteName. Okay, and then I feel like where we need positions. I mean, we need the name in certain circumstances. And I don't know if this could almost be note. It's not really a full note, though. It is kind of the note name because it doesn't know the octave. So I think we'll keep the name tag on there. But I think returning note name here is kind of the right thing. Okay, so now let's find these awkward places. Okay, so array of strings. Well, honestly, I think this array of note names is actually the better thing to be. I'm going to call it notes, and it's an array of note name. Okay, and then strings, this whole thing, I think self dot note names equals this, where strings is tuning. And then this is unneeded. And this is unneeded. These almost are notes. All right, let's make sure that works first. But I think it's promising because tuning as a string is not really right because we need to know those separate note names in it, you know. Turning it into the array feels good. Now, startNote. Okay. Oh, I guess it's just the fretboard tuning, but okay. Notes is array of tuning. Uppercase map notes. Okay, that's adequate for now. Let's find that user positions. Tuning.positions. And then we're mapping the fretboard. Well, I'm gonna call this note. Maybe you can just be tuning.notes, like private set. Okay. So I think pushing it back, start note could have been the first letter in tuning, but now we're not saving tuning. Well, we have the note though. Let's do it this way. Var start note. We're going to start with just note sub 0. Okay. Yeah, we could extract it in the init. I think this will be okay. The place why I'm waffling. The most common tuning is DAD. A is the fifth above D, and so the D and the A, the first two are the drones if you play drone style, and the last one, the last D is the melody. And when you have a pair of drones like that, D and A, the D is the one on the bottom because it's a fifth below A, and A is a fifth above. Okay, and so D would be the tuning there, or the bass, the start note, or the key, or whatever you want to say, sort of the default key is some variant of D. Could be major, could be minor. If you have a different one, DGD, they call this a reverse tuning because the fifth is actually the start note. The G, A, B, C, D, so the middle string note is actually the tuning of this thing in its form. But you also have DDD. You could play all the strings the same, in which case it's obviously that. Sometimes you have DAC is a minor tuning. It's really D minor, okay? But we'll just call it D. It's a D-based tuning, I guess you'd say, regardless of major minor. Now, if you had... Now, sometimes, so there's another one that's D, F sharp, A. They call that 1-3-5 tuning because the first note of the chord is a D, second is E, third is F sharp, fourth is G, fifth is A. So it's got all three notes of a chord, and when you play it open, it just sounds like a chord. But again, it's sort of the same thing, except it's going down a third. It's going to be basically D. Okay. Now, if you had C, E, G tuning, it should be C. So most of the tunings, I guess for most people, most of the time they play in D. If they played DGD, if we listed our chords starting at D, that wouldn't hurt anybody. This would be weird, to say it was D, but if you said it was C because it started with C, that would be okay. So there's not going to be a lot of difference, even though conceptually, from a music theory point of view, this is really key of G, some sort of G, and you probably should start with the G chord there. We can do that later. The other thing that's going on is they don't have to be one letter notes. They could be multiple ones. So I had the D, F sharp, A. F sharp, you can't just take that as three separate. This doesn't work anymore if that's your tuning, because these need to be the same. They need to be the same. So what that says is you really do need to parse it at some point. And then the other one is there's you could have B flat tuning. B flat, F, B flat would be a reasonable tuning. Maybe for a baritone dulcimer or a low dulcimer. Again, you have the two note thing going on. So this is it's somewhat naive, but it's not totally wrong. Yeah, we could. I think so. My vision of this is I'm going to put the default tunings in as the 10 or 15 most common tunings, and they can find them there. I might list them as like 158 DAD, and default it to that one. And then 148 DGD, so D, E, F, G, you know, the 1 is the D, the G is the 4, and then back to the 8 is the next D up. I can get those most common ones, and this will be adequate for almost all of those. Yeah, I mean, but I have this future vision of saying like, oh, just tell me the notes that you have for your tuning and I will construct it, you know. And we don't do that yet. I mean, most of them follow that pattern. I mean, the two bass note, the bass string and the middle string, almost always either in unison or separated by a fourth or separated by a fifth, which are called perfect intervals in music. You know, so most of the time that's going to be okay. So, but it's certainly fine for now. I mean, I could ship that way. Nobody would probably say anything for who knows how long. So, yeah. Let's make sure that's still okay. Whoops. NoteName tuning dot start note. Tuning.startNote. I think I just changed it to a note name. Okay, yeah. So this is not NoteName tuning.startNote. It's just tuning.startNote plus offset. Okay, and same thing here. It's not NoteName, just plus offset. Okay. Now, I thought there were more places that would care about that. Okay. I still don't like that 0 through 12. Wait, what about this? Fretboard view doesn't use tuning. Where's fretboard view? Well, he doesn't now. He's probably going to have to later. Okay. So I think this 0 to 12 is maybe the... So that's offset. So the thing I'm going to want to replace is this 0 through 12 and major tuning plus offset. I would rather iterate over tuning dot start notes or something like that. That let it generate its own range of those things, and get this offset stuff out of here. And let this thing iterate over the notes, because that's what it really cares about, is what note are you on. Okay. Yeah, that feels doable in our time. So we're going to put it on tuning. Now, this is a little more complicated. Let me pull this down. Okay, so I want to say start notes, and this is an array of note name. Okay, and where are they coming from? Well, it's got to be built off this. I'll just put the pieces in here. Oops. And a combination of that with this. Now, I think this could be computed the same way. We could also just define it up front. Well, let's get it in and then worry about it. Okay, so 0.12, and then I want to do map that to startNote plus offset. Okay. Can I convert string? I'll let the name be on the outside because he's making the choice on a view level. Okay, so take the range, map each one to the start note plus the offset, and that gives us all the start notes. Now, is anybody referencing this? I don't think so. Chord MD view, start note. Okay. Yeah, that's not. We won't need that after this. Chord view. Okay, so. And then our note names, are they identifiable? Okay, not. All right, so for each tuning dot start notes itself, that's fine. Oh, maybe it's not fine. Oh, and then this is note in here, and we're going to do note.name has major notes. Okay, yeah, that we can do better. All right, we'll do this first, and then tuning dot. Oh, this is also same thing. Note.name. Whoops. NoteName conforms to hashable. Okay, that seems reasonable. Yeah. I think I can probably get it for free, maybe. Okay, this is a view we'll run it to. All right. Excuse me. That seemed a little faster. Okay, well, those are still looking the same chords anyway, and they all draw correctly. Okay, I think that's a good move. Let's take it. Okay. And now the holdout there was major notes. why do we pass the name? I think we should pass a note name. Let's see if that satisfies this. Not dot name, just note. Okay. I guess I'm going to work on that name. I'll call it major chord notes. Major notes doesn't quite mean the same thing. All right, and then that thing. All right, so he's got the pattern. He does chord root plus them, and then dot name. Valid notes contains note name. Oops. Oh, valid notes is up here. Yeah. Okay, so let's. Oops. So has major chords of note. We pass in note name. We use it, but then chord note changes into a string. Okay. We've crossed a class boundary, so I'm going to check this. And now we're in kind of the hard part of this push through and then go back and address your obligations, I guess is how I think of it. You know, we spin off, oh, I should make this a class instead of a string, and I should make that a class, and so on. And then we have to kind of backfill that stuff that we kind of trod over in our enthusiasm. But then you have to decide how far. And I think the thing we don't do yet is we don't have tests for these classes we extracted. We extracted them from the view and from, basically from the view of the manipulations it was doing. So they do deserve a test too. So we renamed as major notes to as major chord notes and made it take a note. Okay, so this is really good to me, getting it, not having that back and forth between notes and positions and convert it back to a note, and no, we don't want to do that. If they're the same thing. Can valid be a set of NoteName? Yeah, that's the next thing we need to do. You're right. Because we still have a conversion. All right, and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't hand it out further. I don't even think anybody else calls it, do they? Although it might be interesting to know that. Right. It still might be worth testing it separately. But yeah, let's make this return a set of NoteName. Okay, and then he does not need name here to use it. Okay, and then result is tuning.notes map h1.name. Let's take that out. Okay, and then I think this, now we've simplified this thing a whole lot. So chord root plus offset, I think we can inline that there. Take that, and then that becomes that. Okay, and then this is really constant for chords. I mean, there's no variation in that. So we can get rid of the return here too. So now, do you have the chord notes? Well, yes, if you satisfy the fact that every chord note is in the valid notes. Okay, but yeah, getting this flipped I think was a good thing. And I don't think we have some chord chart tests, I think. I hope. Yeah, so I'm surprised none of them complained. Why aren't you complaining? Oh, my struct is still in there? Good grief. Okay. Is that true? Chord chart.swift. Do I have it twice? Chord chart.swift here. And then a chord chart contains chord chart. Wow, we've simplified this substantially. All right, but our test should be calling our actual class. Yeah, now we're getting there. Okay, so this is a fretboard tuning. Actually, we've okay, we do have that. Okay, so yeah, that's fretboard tuning. And short frets should be, he's a fretboard, right? Oh, he still frets. Init. Oh. Okay, that should probably be fretboards, I think. But he's not. So let's fix that. Fix that up. Okay, set. Yeah, these all need to be note names now. I'll take the cheap way out. Oops. His major chord. So we're making this work with notes rather than strings. Update test. Okay, so where did chord chart get frets? It was past it probably from here. So you have chord chart, yeah. Okay, fretboard tuning. Yeah, we don't pass in fretboard yet. So let's do that. Fretboard. Modify his constructor. For now, we'll take our first step is this and update our tests. The frets. Oh, so I was okay with this, I think. Good. Okay. And he still uses frets down here. Okay. Where's that test? Well, let's go see Fretboard. I guess we could call it with this. I think, maybe? Does tuning need the whole fretboard? Tuning does not. Chord chart does, though, because that's the thing that puts, like, we have the fretboard tells us the pattern, and then the tuning tells us for a given string whether the notes start on that pattern, and you need both those to calculate the chord stuff we're doing. I guess I can make it a knit. I think for now, let's do that. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I thought I hit refactor rename, but um, I hope the Apple engineers are also going to them every day, going like, this is really needs some help. But it's just inconsistent is the annoying thing. And I think it's something to do with the other tasks that run, and if there's something going of the wrong sort, it doesn't like to do it. They've made it faster so it happens less, but all right. So I guess we pass in fretboard. Chord chart gets the fretboard. Rather than the frets. All right, now there was something else. What did we see? Chord chart? Yeah, we're still using frets here. Okay. I guess we can take this out if we just use fretboard.frets directly, but okay, so yeah, so this whole thing, again, like I feel like, well, maybe this whole method, right? I mean, let's call it all notes. Okay, and if it's a set of note names, okay. But I think we should give the fretboard, see if we can do it. The map comes from the tuning. So I think if you gave the fretboard the tuning and said, hey, if you're in this tuning, what are your notes? That seems reasonable. I kind of think you'd want to do it by string as well. That's true. It works on their 512 gig Pro M4. Yeah, if it's just a performance thing, that can definitely be it. All right, so if you ask the fretboard, in this tuning, what are your notes? That seems right to me. So let's pull this fretboard, the size. Okay. All notes, let's make this a function. And we need the tuning, fretboard tuning, and we'll yield. Is a set the right thing? This is the only use. I really think we're going to ask for all notes on a given, starting from a given string at some point. All right. But if we had this, fretboards is just us, so we don't need that. Okay, so this is what I think chord charts should be asking for. So all notes, this is really fretboard dot all notes in this tuning. in the tuning we have contains the chord root, or the chord tone, I should say, because it's root, third, fifth. Okay, and then nobody's using this. Or did we put a test in that used it? All notes. Okay, yeah, this test belongs on our fretboard then. Okay. We don't, well, he built, but he shouldn't have. Okay. So let result equal not chord chart. Test board is a fretboard. Here's his tuning. Dot all notes. Non-function type fretboard. Oh, put the parens in the wrong place. We'll move that test. Okay. One more run there. Yeah, this is feeling much better to me. Okay, you're a major if your pattern has, if the fretboard contains all the notes in your pattern. And that's pretty much the thing that brings these two together. There's going to be more, so I don't think it's, I think it's pulling its weight, but maybe not quite now, but it will be. All right, and it is the thing that knows the chords, so that makes chord chart make sense for me for it. All right. And let's do a run, but we'll push that. What else does chord chart need? For chord chart, I think is okay. Fretboard has all notes. Well, we can refactor this. And size. Yeah, I think we could ask the size. Okay. All right, and let's give this a bizarre thing a 2+. And let's make a note that it should know its count, fret count. Size. Zero through 5, so it should be 6. Got that right. Okay. Okay, I'm going to extract an all notes that knows for a string name. Okay, because that's really this part. Okay, I think we can get the, if you do this, make sure this is, okay, and then, I don't think we're not the right type, yeah. Let's make this, well, let's return the set of these things. Okay, so that gives us the set of all the notes, and now we're going to do tuning.notes.reduce set of note name and union. Okay, so before we had an array of notes and you had to flat map it, we should be able to do this kind of thing. Cannot infer keypad type. So far, next, in. All notes to validate all notes in the chord against the street kings. Yeah, I think we could. I think this will push it a little closer. They would probably want to call the function we just extracted more than anything. Requires that note name conform to sequence. Well, that's not it. Set of note name. What are you? Should be. Oh, does union? Union gives me set of that. Oh, union other is S. Form union? Okay. Is a mutating function. Oh, geez. Okay. I'm going to go a few more minutes here. Swift UI set. Returns a new set with the elements of both the set and the given sequence. Oh, it definitely sounds like we want a union. Okay, let me see what these types are. Oh, I didn't say reduce. I did say reduce. Okay. He's a set of NoteName. He better be a NoteName. Oh. Where's my... Is that a little better? All right, and we have a test, so... Passing the chord with the tuning into the validation. Prefer reduce into over reduce for copy on write types. Reduce into. I don't know if that works here. Okay, let me revert that and we'll call it a wrap and see, I can. Okay, I think we'll pick up there tomorrow. So let me just leave a note. Fretboard, all notes, refactor. Okay, so fretboard all notes refactor, good. All right, well, thanks for joining today. We made some progress. I think we made more progress design-wise than we did in our board, but we did get through the list of finding the valid chords, and they are legitimate answers. And that should get us set up for tomorrow. So I think we'll finish the refactoring, add a couple more tests, and then I think maybe we'll work on the other chord types, because I think we're really close on those. And once we have those, we'll work on drawing the dots on the boards, and that'll be good for this story. The bulk of it anyway. All right, thank you, and have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 Eastern, 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC. Bye-bye.